Alrighty then, welcome back everybody. Last time we were here, we did Virgin Galactic Mimic type of thing, just to show you guys what's current in the news and that sort of thing, blah blah blah, fancy crap. This time we are going to be landing on Dres. Now, Dres is, according to the developers, a dwarf planet. Now, I disagree. The people that determine whether a planet is a dwarf planet or an actual planet, their regulations and everything say that Dres would be a normal planet. But the developer says it's a dwarf planet, therefore we're going to go with the dwarf planet. Last time we landed on Moho, and this time we're going to go to Dres. Nothing really changing too much. I am adding these side thrusters again. Actually, those are too big. These guys. Just two of them. No big deal. It's a little bit of extra thrust. It's a dwarf planet, so we probably won't even need them. With it being so small, the gravity is extremely low. And this time I added RCS and a few RCS ports. And what we're going to do, or at least I'm going to try to do, is once we get into orbit, I'll determine if we have enough fuel or not. And if we need more fuel, I'll be docking with our space station, grabbing some more fuel for this little adventure. Alright, now I'm just going to go over, make sure we have our landing probe drone rover thing. We got SAS, we got our primary transfer stage here, which is the big tank plus the two nuclear side pods. RCS for just in case we have to dock. More SAS. Then the main center one. And then all the asparagus funness. And everything should be the same. I just copied the launcher stage from always. And a lot of people, I've been looking on YouTube and stuff like that, seeing what my competition is, and there doesn't seem to be really any videos on going to Dres. Either it's just very uninteresting, or it may just be really hard to land on. I've never even gotten an intercept with it. I never bothered or anything like that. So, here we come out to the orbit map. Now we come zooming out. And we find Dres, the fifth planet, which is out here. Okay. Now, with Dres, you want it at a 90-degree with the sun. Now, we're going to be orbiting faster, so it's probably going to be somewhere in there. Let's go ahead and start our time warp. It's going to be a while. So, in the meantime, we'll talk. And you can see we have a rover here on Moho. We have one on Eve. And we have one on Duna. And our next one here is, of course, Dres. He is on a very odd and peculiar orbit. But we should be okay. We got about 180 degrees to go. We're getting there. It's no big deal. Slowly getting there. Alright. Looks like we got about 90 degrees to go from this point. I am curious as to why nobody's really done Dres missions on YouTube, though. I mean, it's a weird planet in that it's really tiny. I mean, it's not that much further than Duna. Well, kind of is, but I mean, if you really look at it, it's not that hard to get to or anything. I'm quite perplexed as to why it's never been really visited that much. We're going to go a little bit beyond 90 here, because my calculation, I've rounded it out to 90, but it's more like 82 degrees. So, yeah, that looks about right. So we come back here, we launch our rocket. Boom. Got those solid rocket boosters giving us all sorts of power and everything. We got Rossel, Rosell. I have no idea what his name is. I suck at names. I do know his last name. It's Kerman. But then again, all Kerbal's last names are Kerman. I think they took the whole Adam and Eve thing a little too far. If you don't know what the whole Adam and Eve thing is, oh well. To be honest, I'm atheist. I'm a big sciencey person. It's not that I am against religion. I just find no purpose in it or reason to believe in it. But I don't want to get into that. This is a public place, and we all know the rule on public places. Religion's like a penis, in that it's okay to have one, but it's wrong to show it off and try to shove it down someone's throat. Alright. We are getting some wicked wobble here for some reason. Not liking that. Uh-oh. Wow. Wicked wobble doesn't even explain what just happened. Okay. So let's figure out why that section blew off like that. I did see with my eyes where it broke apart. Broke apart right here in this area. And I'm going to assume it was the RCS area. And I got the worst sun glare coming in my window right now. It makes me quite angry. I do not like it. Okay. Pretty much what happened was this got disconnected, but the way it did it, it kind of clipped through, and then once it hit this, it blew everything apart. But I added that there. I should hold that there. See, that tank is supported all the way down. That tank isn't supported until after the SRBs go. It's no longer supported. So I'm going to set these to there. There we go. Now that's supported all the way up. Yep. Save that. Here we go again. I'm beginning to feel like Dres may have a curse, and whenever you attempt to go to it, everything just breaks and dies. And if that's the case, then our mission today is to break that curse, because I will not let a video game tell me what I can and cannot do. Never have, never will. Alright. So once again, we gotta do this fun stuff. Oh, too bad we can't warp backwards. Be a whole lot quicker if we went backwards right now. Whatever. If we zoom in really close, you can see our that we're wobbling quite fast. It's too bad it doesn't go around as fast as this guy does. Silly moho. Forgot to set Dres as target so I can actually see its orbit. It does have a really faded orbit and everything. In the meantime, let's use this. I've never shown you guys this, but this right here will tell you the total mass and the amount of parts in the vehicle you have and its current position. Latitude 6 degrees, 6 minutes and 10 seconds. Longitude 74 degrees, 34 minutes and 32 seconds. And yes, that is how latitude and longitude is read, in case you didn't know. This takes a while. Do. I'm actually gonna quick save this time. That way we don't have to wait again and again and again every time the rocket fails. But it shouldn't fail anymore. Shouldn't. Cough, cough. We're gonna call this the Curse of Dres. because that is what it's acting like. Okay, everything looks good. Holy wobble right there, Batman. Just doing my best to conserve fuel and hope things don't break off like this guy wants to. Jesus. I got a fly attacking me. I got glare coming through the window. Ugh. Some days are just not good days to play this game, I swear. Okay, those are done. And now a bug is chirping or something off to the side. Alright. So far, so good. Start our gravity turn a little bit early, why not? Everything still seems to be okay. We're about to accelerate pretty quick here now. Now, I do have larger launch stages than this, but to be honest, they're not really necessary. They're just me trying to get up into space in a quick and a hurry and be absolutely 100% sure I have enough fuel for everything. Just in case you were wondering what the other launch stages were, where I have massive, enormo asparagus stage tanks and everything. Those are for me not wanting to run out of fuel ever. That's all they are. And right here you can see our total mass dropping and everything as we do our burn. As fuel burns, it goes away and makes us lighter. We have velocity here, our actual altitude, which is kind of helpful in this view. Not gonna lie. That's actually quite nice. But we're going up to 100,000 meters for our transfer burn. I always do everything by the 100,000. It makes the math a little bit easier and rounded numbers and yay. But you can really do it from any altitude. Just tweak the numbers a little bit. You'll figure out how to do the math and everything. Just Google it, really. I mean, it's mostly how I learned. So I Googled orbital maneuvers and stuff like that. And once you learn the basics, which I have been showing just about every episode, you'll be able to put together all the math and stuff like that on your own. But that's really the hardest part, is learning these basics, because they never really teach you the basics right up front. They expect you to just, well, know them. And, well, let's face it, a lot of people just don't know them. So, I teach the basics, and then you guys can fill in the gaps on your own via Google. Seems like a pretty good trade-off to me. We are going down a little bit. I don't want to do that. It says situation suborbital. Well, let's fix that. Let's put us in orbital. There we go. Get the apoapsis in front of us again. Alright. Burn exactly 90 as best as we can. Let's catch back up to our apoapsis. Okay. We're just about at apoapsis. I'm doing this to try and do the most perfect burn I can. And flush. 103, 101. That's pretty much as perfect as we can get it. Okay. Now, as you know, there's always a second thing we have to pay attention to. And that is, we have to find the prograde of Kerbal, which is this way, where my mouse is, going up. Always put prograde up. And we want to burn just after our apoapsis. And according to my math, we want to burn 1533 delta V. So let's go ahead and pull this out to 15. Woo, not 2000. I don't think I packed enough fuel for 15 or 2000. But I definitely have enough for 1533. Not in the first stage, of course. Okay, 1533. Let's see what that gets us as far as getting to Dres. Okay, so it is on an elliptical orbit, and we're going to have to change inclination. We'll have to do so on the ascending node. I have to do 5 degrees of inclination change. That's kind of yucky. And this is nowhere near far out enough, but I want to change the inclination before I go and make any decisions on changing that and everything. So let's find the blue marker. Finding it. Then we use time warp to stop our ship from rotating instead of having to fight it, because it is quite heavy right now. Still at 57 tons. There we go. Now it says 58-second burn. That ain't bad at all. So at 58 seconds, half of that's 30, so we're going to burn at 30 seconds. That way, half of our burn is before and half is after, to balance out the fact that the maneuver node plans on us changing velocity instantaneously at the node. Gonna let it go down to actually 29. There we go. Bam. Now, we might have enough from the main engine. Nope. We actually had to do 1,108 from our nuclear. But that's okay. That's what the nuclear stage is for. Boom. Leave our RCS behind, and we're away. There's a fly on my screen. I'm gonna eat it. Nom 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 nom. Don't listen to me, people. I don't know what I'm talking about 9 times out of 10. So now we do the ×4 warp, because this is the longest burn. I mean, literally, this is us just burning forever into an affinity and beyond. I don't know how you go beyond infinity, though. I really want to know that. That never made sense to me. Buzz Lightyear, you have been a failure to me since my childhood. Then again, a lot of cartoon characters I grew up with are pretty big failures on their part. People always ask me why I never behave. I don't know, maybe I grew up with Tarzan, who was always half naked, Cinderella that showed up late, Aladdin, who was a thief. You know, all the good stuff. That's what I grew up with, and you wonder why I always misbehave. Well, maybe if, I don't know, I had better role models. Oh, and Snow White lived with 7 other guys. How was that? Alright. Almost there. And, ooh, I cut engines at 0.2 off. So let me come in here and go a little puff, 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 puff. There we go. Alright, come back in here. Huh. Looks like I burned way further out than I expected to. Interesting. Alright, well, we got our actual orbit, so let me go out into it. Bam. Alright, now, at the ascending node, I don't know which way I want to go. Hold on. Down, I believe? It's really hard to tell with all these other orbital lines in the way. I'll do it from this orbital line because, well, I can actually see it. So if I come down, yep. Look at that, intercept. So maybe there isn't a curse after all. Because I can adjust that intercept until it gives me that, which is freaking awesome. 21 million meters, but you know what? I'm going to have to accept 15 million. I'm trying to get the periapps to stay there for me just by clicking the tag. I don't want to add a maneuver, I just want to click the little taggy tag. Oh, it did stay. 17, 16, 15, 14. Okay, we can get it down to 4. Ooh. And it went away. Now I have to fight it. There we go. It actually behaved this time. So 14 is as close as we can get that way. That makes it worse. That makes it worse as well. Oop. Should probably just stop playing with it. 20, we're back to 20. 14, okay. I accept 14. I can work with 14. Dres does not have an atmosphere, so we cannot litho break or anything like that, which is unfortunate. And we have to do our burn in 2 days. So it's time warp those 2 days. 8 hours. It says a 3-minute burn, so a minute and 30. Whoop, missed it. So we're just gonna burn now. I always miss these things. You guys should know that. I can't control my time warp. Alright. It's coming in nicely here. Most of this fuel, almost all of it actually, is for encounter and getting into an orbit and then deorbit. As you know, our rovers do not leave the planet. Okay. Little puff puff here. Looks like we have what I wanted, 14 million. I'm going to leave that 5.1 meters alone. We should still have our encounter. We do not. I'm burning a little bit here to bring down our separation. There we go. This is me just manually feeding it in. I just lost it. Crap. So the opposite of that is 180 in there. So the opposite is north in here. And it's not playing nice. Nope. Alright. So I'm going to put in a maneuver about here-ish. You want to do your maneuvers as far away from your encounter as possible so you can burn the least amount of delta V. That's just a pro tip. You don't actually have to listen to it. Okay. Fly. Go away from me. It says estimated burn 1 second. So I gotta find where this blue guy is. And we should be burning for only 1 second. So a half a second before and a half a second after. That's probably the most perfect node I've ever had. Because we will be able to change this exactly on the mark. 44 minutes, 20 minutes. Now I want to be very careful of this because this is 5.4 meters per second of a change, which in the realm of things is so small that if I screw up even a little bit, then our whole orbit and everything gets thrown out and it's going to be equally as hard to get an encounter. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, done. And I overburned it. But we still have an encounter at 26 million meters away. Which isn't the best, but should still be okay. Okay, we're outside of Duna. This is the furthest we've ever been in this series. If you look in here, Kerbal, the sun, is getting smaller and smaller. No planets in sight or anything. We are way out there. And we're traveling at 6,000 meters a second. And this encounter is actually so small that when we leave, if we don't burn, we'll be pretty much on the same orbit, just a little bit further in. I mean, that's about 1 million. Yeah, I'd say that's about 1 million meters difference in our orbit. So we're not getting really even close enough to feel gravity at this point. And Dres is a tiny, tiny little planet. So getting into it isn't the easiest or best thing ever. And our orbit is actually so slow. There's a truck. Thank you, truck. I'm trying to record. Thanks. Okay, bye. Alright. Now, our orbit and everything... Actually, Dres is so small that even if we do get in close, we're looking at very little gravitational effect here. So I'm going to have to do a lot of burning to get us down in there. I'm just hoping we packed enough fuel. I mean, we really should have. I mean, nuclear engines with a half tank and 2 small side tanks should be more than enough fuel to do all this. Okay, we just hit our apoapsis, so now we're actually speeding up in our orbit. That purple line is not showing us that we passed that part in our orbit. That is the purple line showing what our orbit will be like if we don't get into an orbit around Dres. It's the after escape orbit. And I'm checking inclination and everything here. We're off by 0.4 degrees. I might actually want to change that at this point. Alright, let me do that. It says 0.4 degrees. -1. You know what? Nah. I don't want to screw with it. I don't want to deal with the curse of Dres. So we're just going to go in for it. Okay, we're getting nice and close. We are accelerating, of course, so it's going to be doubly hard to break out of an escape and lock in an orbit. We're going to be coming down south of it. So if anything, I would want to burn north at this point right now. I think. Yep, if I burn north now, I get closer and closer. So I am going to spend a little bit of fuel here to try and assist us closer to Dres. As you can see, it's stretching our encounter out left and right. The closer I can get us this way, the better we are for our litho brake. Well, not litho brake, but powered braking. If I can knock it down to where I want my periapsis anyways, then we'll be golden. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 million. Okay, oh, started to overshoot there. So let me come over to this side. 180 is south. We were able to knock it down below 1 million. Well, no, we're not. Not at this point, not anymore. Okay. Woo! Alright, we're on a highly escaping orbit, so we're just gonna have to burn just like this and hope we have enough fuel for it. Look at that little guy. And we're escaping it. But I am burning completely opposite direction in hopes that it will work. I'm trying. No guarantees or anything. My orbit velocity is going to have to shrink considerably for us to do anything. Our weight is also shrinking. I'm not even starting to see a curve in this orbit yet. I'm going to come out here and check fuel and stuff like that. That's still full. Main tank's getting close to empty, but it looks like we have enough fuel to do this. We're down to 18.5 tons of weight. Oh, looks like we're starting to get a wrap around. It's doing it kind of weirdly though. It's actually a very strange thing that's happening right now. Okay. Now look at our orbit speed. We're pretty much not even moving. Alright. Like I said, we're not even friggin' moving. So, oops. Let's kill this. Shrink her down to a human altitude. Now we don't have to worry about atmosphere or anything, so I'm going to go ahead and shrink this guy pretty low down into the quote-unquote atmosphere. Okay, now we're really speeding up and everything, so I'm going to be very cautious with my time warp. Okay, down to 50 times. And what looks like I want to start looking at making my landing approach. So I want to point north and slow down at the same time. Mostly north because we're headed pretty far south here. If you look, that shrunk down like nothing. I mean, it takes very little speed or anything to do anything on Dres. I never realized how small this planet was. And there we go. Looks like we're going to land at the basin of that crater there. So let's time warp in a little bit. We can only go 10 times. I'm just eyeballing it right now. And okay. To be honest, looking at it, kind of scoping it out, and the top of this mountain is just as good of a landing place as any. So let me kill this down to about 200 meters, then we'll ditch it, and then use the Rovers engines. Okay. Actually, we'll use it some more if it has enough fuel to help us out. That way the rover has fuel. Alright. Coming in. I wish I had a radar altimeter to tell me exactly how far from the surface I am. But it looks like I'm getting pretty close here. Getting very close, actually. Luckily, gravity is low enough. Boom. There we go. Now, these things have more thrust than those nuclears do. Okay, yeah, we're closer than I thought we were. And now they're actually going to go and orbit. Well, go figure. Those are an escape trajectory. Okay, from here, I'm pretty much just doing my best to bam. There we go. We are on the surface of Dres. Now it's very low gravity, so I'm having to tap the throttle to do anything. Turn on the lights. Look at us go. Now even turning, when I turn the wheels, since the gravity's so light, it just kind of slides. Let's check our science stuff and see what we got here. Hit the brakes. Okay. Now let's check our science stuff, just to pull some information. A little bit over freezing here, maybe less. Okay. Gravity, 1.08 meters a second squared. That's pretty low. Of course, we're in a vacuum. 0.11 G's compared to Kerbin. So let's get our guy out here. Yep, he's hopping around. He's all happy and everything. He made it. Okay, 2968 up to 2972. So we can get a 4-meter jump on Dres. It's pretty interesting. Alright, planting our flag now. Alright. The advertisement said there would be frosting here for my cupcakes, but they were wrong. I don't want to be a Kerbal nut anymore. There we go. Turn on RCS so we can get back in. Should probably put a ladder on the front here. I'm not 100% sure on it though. Okay, it's board. And let's check it out from in here. Turn off brakes. Yep, still doing a wheelie. But it's a pretty cool view from this rover. I love this rover design. Got those toroidal fuel tanks wobbling around. Got the sun. And here we go. Oh yeah, it's bouncy on this planet. Very low gravity. Alright. Just tap the brakes. Whoops. And that could be bad. That could be the end of this. Yep, I think we just lost a rover. Probably should have put those landing legs on this one. Oh, wait. I think gravity's low enough. Okay, and brakes are on. Yeah, I saved it. That's how awesome I am. Okay, so there we go. Let's do a recap here for you guys, just so you can get the numbers one more time before you go and try it on your own. Focus on Kerbin. Alright, so before you launch, you want Dres, this guy, I can never find him, this guy here, Dres, you want him 90 degrees compared to Kerbin and the sun. So bam, bam, bam. And then when you leave for your transfer burn, you want to burn right here in comparison to the prograde. Up is prograde, here is burn, or 123 degrees. So you come down, hit the North Pole, go 123 degrees, and bam. That is where you burn. And that will bring you out. I would go with the 1533 burn. Brings you out to where Dres is. Then from there, you go to your ascending or descending node, burn up or down, depending on which way you need to go to get aligned with Dres. If you notice, it's tilted this way from here to there, so your descending or ascending node is going to be here. Burn that to get your plane equalized. Then, as you saw when I got into about here compared to where Dres is I burn north or south depending to be able to get in close enough. And once you're in there, you really don't need too much fuel to get into an orbit. Gravity is low and everything, but since it's so small, once you're in close, very little fuel is needed to stop and bring yourself down to the planet. Alright, so next time what we're going to be doing is a really fun mission, actually. It's going to be a multiple part series. So we're going to go to Jool. And once we're on Jool, or in the orbit of Jool, we're going to set up a space station. I'm thinking we're going to put the space station on an inner ring in here. That way we can set up rovers and everything on Lathe, Vol, Tylo, Bop, and Pole. Bop and Pole are very small. I believe it's Lathe. That it's it's a habitable planet. There's water and everything on this thing. That one's going to be a challenge to land on because of the very small islands and everything. I think I'm going to use more of a plane design. There is oxygen there, so we can actually use jet engines. So I think I'm going to be making a plane that's also a rover to land there. I'll be doing some research on that. And until then, you guys have been great. And if you have any suggestions or questions, please leave them in the comments here or the Steam group chat for Kerbal Space Program. Alright guys, until next time.